All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all is well. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy and sane out here and sound and taking, stock of your mental space. My name is Darrell Lawson. I am the co-founder and CEO of Bluurp. And this is our inaugural kickoff of our Bluurp Founders Story, where I interview entrepreneurs across the United States that are African American and have Black culture upon their DNA. And today I have the pleasure of having Iguehi James. She is our first guest. She has a great apparel shop out of Oakland, California called Love Iguehi. She makes custom clothes. They look fantastic. And she also pivoted nicely to making masks. I believe that are N95 approved, and they have a lot of swag and they look great. And I urge everyone, if you need masks, to order from her. And I'm just glad to be here, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to interview her. So without further ado, everyone, please meet Iguehi James.
Hello, hello. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me on your
Likewise.
inaugural interview.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So to get started, our first hot seat question would be, what is Love Iguehi?
So, Love Iguehi is actually, um, Love Iguehi is a business that gifts the gift of love that brings and connects people back to life. And so, we like to think of ourselves as um, a brand that creates joy, creates happiness, and creates life. And it goes beyond clothing, right? So,
Mhm.
me as a founder, as a CEO, and as the chief designer, my primary role is to create and create with my hands pieces that I know will um, make people look good and feel good. And so, what Love Equate is a feeling. It's a feeling
Right.
of love and happiness of life. It's an energy. So that is what Love Equate is.
No, that's awesome. We definitely need a lot of love and happiness, especially in this world that we live in.
Yeah.
No, and that's just great to hear your thesis of what Love Iguehi is about. It's
Yeah.
not just about clothes, but it's a movement, it's a feeling. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a community. Yeah. And a connectedness.
That's what's up. All right, cool. So also with that being said, I see you were a healthcare professional for over 10 years, and then you made the big pivot over to entrepreneurship. So, folks who are at home, they're like, healthcare is one of the most, stable careers you could have. Why would you
Yeah.
want to get out of that to come into the world of entrepreneurship? And, so what's your story behind that?
Yeah. So I've been kind of always kind of focused. So my background is in public health. I have a BA in sociology and anthropology. I always know I want to work in the healthcare industry. So I got my master's in public health from
Nice.
Carolina.
All
So I
right.
was living in North Carolina. Yeah, I was in North
Yeah.
Carolina. And I did that. I got my master's degree, and then I was working in different health care institutions in clinical research, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I've had wonderful working opportunities, which I'm very blessed to say that it's just been a positive experience. But I think what happened was there was a mix. There was kind of a opportunity meets timing meets um, the desire to pursue my passion, right? So I
Mhm.
was working in the healthcare industry, and during that time, I had got a sewing machine, kind of taught myself how to sew, watching YouTube videos.
Right.
And so I had kind of a side hustle as I was working, my primary job. And then over time, as life would have it, I actually ended up being pregnant with twins.
Mm.
And so it was one of these like, you have a full time job, you got this side gig that you're really
Yep.
excited about, and you have two kids in addition coming to the one that you have. And so I was like,
Mhm.
ooh, it's going to be a lot to try to do it all.
Yeah.
Right. And so after like a lot of conversation with my husband
Mhm.
about like, what we should do with his encouragement, actually, he was the one
Mhm.
like, Iguay, you need to bet on yourself
That's right.
and step out on faith and do this. I believe that this is what you've been called to do. And I said, you know what, you're right. I do believe that this is what I've been called to do. So So now what I say is my healthcare is my backup plan, right?
That's right. There you go. Yeah, yeah.
I have that degree to fall back on should
Yes,
things go awry. But so far, so good. So I'm thankful to have kind of switched. I know it seems really random, but I really feel like God has called me to this. It's purposed me for this. And it's bigger than clothing. And so I'm able to serve, in a different way than I was serving before in the healthcare industry.
sure. No,
Yeah.
that's a great backstory. And no, you absolutely did it correctly. You did your risk management properly. You got your degrees. You went to the College of Obama, Occidental. You went to
I
Chapel
did.
Hill. You
Yeah.
know, I went to school in North Carolina. I went to HBCU called Livingstone College out of
Oh,
Salisbury,
yeah.
near Charlotte. So we used to hang out at UNC Chapel Hill with my frat brothers. I'm a
Okay.
Sigma, so we went to a couple of step shows there back in the year
Okay.
2000.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
good,
So
good stuff.
you already know.
Yeah. So no, that's good, man, and that's good that you had your husband to support you, and he was like, "Go ahead and do it."
Yeah.
And that's a great story to have, especially in our community and with Black families.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important.
Absolutely.
It's important.
Cool. So to continue on your entrepreneurial beginnings, what were some of the first steps that you did to jumpstart your entrepreneurial journey once you made the decision and you popped the cork in the champagne bottle to say, I am in this to win it?
It's funny. When I first started doing this, I didn't really think of myself as a business, to be
Mm,
honest. I just thought that this was something I was doing on the side. But when I eventually thought that, okay, maybe this is something bigger than just sewing skirts, because that's actually how I started. What I did, I started thinking ahead before I even became a business. I said, you know what, let me establish myself as an official business
mm,
even before I am one, right? So I got my, LLC, I
yeah.
incorporated, and then I said, let me make sure that the website that I want is secure. So
Hmm.
then I bought the website a couple of years before I even used it, right?
Sure, sure.
I have a guest, okay?
It's all right. No problem. We love guests here in the Bluurp Found the Story. Hi, how are you,
Hi.
pretty lady?
So I secured websites. So I bought, loveiguehi.com, and then, did research, and I said, you know what, let me secure these other similar websites so that
Yep.
people can buy those too. And so I started behaving in a way that I was a business, even
Yeah.
though I hadn't told anybody this is what I was doing.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to cover my bases a little
Right.
bit. And so that's kind of how I did. I kind of set things rolling kind of on the low and continue to kind of side hustle, um and then after that, because I am pretty active on social media,
Hmm.
getting people to really understand my journey and like what I'm doing as far
Hmm.
as teaching myself, okay, now I'm making this. Oh, my kids are very much a part of Love Iguehi and who
Yeah.
I am as a business owner.
Yeah.
And so kind of sharing that experience with my followers, with my friends, help to kind of build this brand and
Yeah.
build, the business so that the buy-in isn't that hard because people kind of have been following along
Right.
um, as I was creating what is now Love Iguehi. Yeah.
Awesome. So yes, it sounds like you got up to the right foot. You got your brand. You already built your network before you needed it. Were there any particular challenges with kickstarting Love Iguehi that kind of was like, oh snap, this was maybe a little bit more challenging than I thought?
Yeah, I think you can never underestimate the amount of time it takes when you're working for yourself. So for me, I was working again full
Yeah.
time in healthcare and doing this on the side. But now that I'm doing this full time, what I can say is that I work harder and longer.
Mm,
Now I'm challenged in different ways. Now that I'm working for myself, like my mind is always going. And
mm,
so
mm.
I think that, you know, that's something that I didn't necessarily anticipate. You kind of hear it, but until you
Yeah.
kind of experience it for yourself, you don't know the magnitude of which,
Right. Right.
you know, this can be intense and this can be constant. And this
Yeah.
is, it's hard to really shut off.
Right.
So I think that that's one of the challenges that I've kind of experienced as a business owner. And then I'll also say, like, for me, this is self-funded. So
Hmm.
I use my own money to kind of start the business and buy supplies, buy material, and then all the money that I make, I sew it right back into the business. And
Right.
so um, people's journeys are different. I'll say for mine,
Absolutely.
full transparency, like, you know, they talk about entrepreneurship and you're going to make all this money and it's great. It's a freeing lifestyle. But for me right now, I am in the kind of growing. And so
Hmm.
I've sacrificed my healthcare salary
Right,
to invest in myself. Right.
right,
So I'm pouring everything into the business. Everything I make goes right back into the business because I'm
mm,
trying to build something bigger than me. And
right.
so that has been something that I've had to kind of understand, and I'm learning as I go on this journey.
No, indeed. And, and I'm glad you shared that vulnerability because, a lot of folks think I got this great business idea. I know I can pull it off. And then as soon as they get
Yeah.
started, the first 3 to 6 months, they're like, oh, snap, I don't know if I want to continue.
Yeah.
And, a lot of folks, they face a lot of the similar problems that you face, balancing, knowing when to turn that switch on and off. You're married with 3 kids. I'm
Yeah.
married, no kids, but balancing,
Yeah.
a job to pay the bills and then
Yep.
doing your business.
Yep.
You have to time manage so much, and it's not easy to do it. And I think when we hear the stories of those that have made it, they say it takes 10 years to become 5 to 10 years to become an overnight success. So we only see the overnight successes, but we don't
Right.
understand those long days and nights that we
Right.
had to put in to get there.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I always think it's so cool when they show the picture of like how these big businesses is started in the garage,
Yep.
right? And so we see the Apples of today, we see the
Yep.
Microsofts, and oftentimes we don't know the nitty gritty of what it took to, to get to that point. But there's that
Right.
picture that they always show, like the commonality between all these businesses. They all started in the garage, and I laugh because I literally work out of my garage.
It's
That
all
is where my factory is. I said, well, praise God, one day, I'm going to be one of those businesses that say she started in her garage too. So
That's right. And
yeah,
Dave Ramsey will be proud of you because he's all about maximizing the space in your home and the
yeah,
equity and stuff. So
yeah.
you're doing fantastic with that. And so no, we'll be pulling for you. I'll be pulling for you. So
Thank you.
keep that going.
Thank
So as
you.
long as so in reference to your brands, how do I know you kind of had a following already? Folks kind of know who you were. But for those who kind of might have looked at what's Lovey Iguehi, why would I be interested in her custom clothing? How did
Yeah,
you go about building that brand to connect with folks on various different levels?
yeah. So I think the cool thing about being myself is that I wear a lot of different hats, and I think what I've been able to connect people with the brand is kind of along the lines of the different hats that I wear. So clearly, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
So, oh, John, go down. Okay, you have to stop, baby. Okay. Okay, so I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm involved in different organizations,
Yeah,
and and I like to look good for
that's
the most
right.
part, and I care about how I look. And so
Mhm.
what I've done with Love Iguehi is kind of meld my Nigerian culture. So I'm first generation here. Both of my parents are Nigerian, but I was
Mhm.
born here. And so I have the distinct privilege of kind of growing up in a Nigerian home within the US and kind of
Mhm.
having this kind of dual,
Yeah.
um, what's the word I'm trying to look for? But like I've been part of both cultures. And
Mhm.
so what I've done is use that experience to build a brand that kind of marries the two.
Right.
So I'm using a lot of African fabrics and more
Mhm.
contemporary American styles that people can easily incorporate into their wardrobe where they don't feel like it's a costume. They don't feel like, oh man, I can't see myself in this. I've intentionally created pieces that can be incorporated into what people are already wearing
Yep.
because I want it to feel good and I want people to feel good and comfortable in the pieces that I create. And so that's kind of how the brand came together. I'm
Mhm.
a busy mom, and
Right.
so I wanted pieces that would make me look good, but didn't require me to put too much effort into it. And
Right.
I know that a
Right.
lot of moms have that same desire. So again, thinking ahead about like what would be easy. Okay, if I just wore jeans and a t-shirt and I want to throw on something cute over it, and now I look dressed up
Yep.
because I've been in tights
Yeah.
all day. Just thinking about creating pieces like that just
Mhm.
spices up your wardrobe and
Yep.
doesn't take much effort. So that's kind of how um, that's what the things that I've used to kind of inform my design
Yeah.
and create new pieces.
No, cool. I like the whole aspect of feeling good. And, recently I read Dapper Dan's biography. Are you familiar with Dapper Dan?
I am familiar, but I haven't read his bio.
Yeah, his great story, great American history, great Black history out of Harlem, New York, and his
Mhm.
whole background and how he evolved to be the person that he's become. And his big thing was making celebrities feel better than they were, and make
Yeah,
other people feel better than they were with his creativity and design. So yes, that
yeah,
whole feeling good and looking good, that's great. That just expands all around you, that energy.
mhm. Yep, yep, absolutely.
Cool. So now we're going to get back into your family and managing on entrepreneurship and marriage and all of that. So how do you manage your work-life balance with your family and business? And do you have any helpful tips to provide folks? Because folks out here, they think everybody wants to be the power couple and the power kids, and you're always working and on, but that's just not the reality, and it's not sustainable. And myself, I realized that, hey, you got to balance. You got to know when to shut that down. You can't just be business 24/7, because your relationships will suffer if you
Yeah.
don't tend to that. So, and I think that's an underlooked problem that a
Hmm.
lot of us in our community do not take stock in.
Yep. So maybe you can give me some advice because
I'm still learning, man. Every day I read tons of books and articles.
still learning.
I talk to my
Look,
friends. So yeah.
I am trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure it out. So I actually don't use the term work-life balance. I know a lot of people ask that question a lot, and I don't know that you can ever fully have balance
Hmm.
between work and life. I think that I look at things more as kind of like a juggling act. And
Hmm.
sometimes things are prioritized and are higher, and then other times other things take precedent.
Yeah.
And that can happen in seasons. There can be times, where I'm more focused on my family, and as such, that I got to fall back from this in just a bit. There are times where I'm trying to build something, and so things are really intense for the business.
Yeah.
And at that time, the family knows, okay, mommy's focus right now.
Yeah.
We will sit here, or take care of ourselves, or my husband will help with the kids
Yeah.
more because he knows that I need this time. So I think that, again, for me, I don't know that I'm ever striving to have that balance, and that's
Right.
something that I've wrestled with because people ask that all the time. So I'm
Hmm.
like, well, maybe I should try to find it, but I'm okay
Okay.
realizing that I may not have that balance, and that's okay. It's just a matter of figuring out like when things may shift, and understanding that there is going to be a shift and there are seasons, and having support in place to kind of guide me through the different phases and different seasons. Um, I will say that there was a point in time where I was working like crazy, like working to
Mhm.
the point where it was too much, like on my health, it was just
Right.
too much. And it took like really feeling like physically feeling ill from working so much
Oh
that
wow.
I had to say, nope, I'm not the business. I'm not going to die for the sake
Right.
of this business. And as such, I'm going to take it upon myself to step back and to create real boundaries and to set time limits on when I'm going to, if things don't get done by 6 p.m., I'll address it in the morning. That's
That's right.
okay, you know? And
That's right.
so, but it's hard because as an entrepreneur, you want, and it's your business, you want to be the best. You want to do the best. You want to, you know, get things to your customers in a
Yeah.
timely fashion, and, hold to your commitments. And so I think a lot of times we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and at the risk of our own health and our
Right.
own peace. And so, yeah, it was the end of last year, and I said, I cannot operate like this
Right.
anymore. And so I had to really set boundaries about how much I can work or
Right.
was willing to work, and realizing like work will be there tomorrow. I know it'll be okay.
That's right. So yeah, so you hear that, everyone? It's you have to prioritize and you have to set boundaries. I'm still
Yeah.
learning to obey those too. I've gotten a lot better throughout the years, and I realize there are certain things I can't attend that may not be in a priority for me at whatever stage I'm in life. So
Yeah.
you just got to be able to learn to shut it down, set boundaries and stuff for yourself. And I've become where I make a lot of to-do lists, and if it's at a certain time, tomorrow's another day to get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you only got one shot at life. You need to give the best you can, and I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna run myself down and die because of a business. So no,
Yeah.
that's great. I appreciate you sharing that vulnerability, because a lot of folks think it's team no sleep. You just hustle, hustle, hustle. you're not going to be 24 forever. It's just not sustainable.
Yeah,
And
it's so funny, that phrase, the team no sleep. I had a friend who posted, and I was like, don't promote that,
no,
because sleep is good. Sleep energizes you. Like, we should sleep. I'm not saying sleep your life away, but team no sleep, it's not healthy.
no, not by the least. And I think what's an underlooked thing is when you're an entrepreneur, the most important person you're selling besides your business is yourself.
Absolutely.
And you have to look good, you have to feel good, you have to energize yourself. And even me, when I first started out, I neglected that part of my life too. And I look back at some pictures a few years ago, I'm like, oh, how did I do that?
There, I'm feeling you
Yeah.
completely. Yeah. Yeah.
So no, there's a good advice that you shared and appreciate that. So COVID happened. The world is at a standstill. No one can fly. No one can travel. It's like the 1980s again, without, with the internet now, and you're really home and you're really connected to folks and people. So with the business perspective, how has that impacted your business?
COVID said, sit down somewhere. Okay. COVID shut things down. So let me see, I'm joking. Well, I'm not joking. It actually did happen. But I will say that a lot of my business prior to COVID, a lot of my sales, a lot of my interaction with my customers happened in person. So I used to do, conferences, festivals, vend at different events that allowed me the opportunity to actually meet people, allow them to kind of touch my clothing, try things on, get a feel for the things that I create in an in-person experience. COVID said, mm-mm. So the last event I did was actually right before they shut it down, maybe March
Mm,
of this year. And I remember starting to get emails like, we're postponing this event. Okay, we're going to postpone this event. Oh, we've decided to cancel this event. So when I tell you I had such an exciting year coming up of different
mm,
events and things I was going to travel to, my calendar was wiped clean. Like, couldn't do everything things I paid for in advance, and vendor fees, and
mm,
everything was shut down. So it really caused me to kind of sit back and say, okay, what are we going to do?
mm,
I have this website, but if I'm being completely honest, most of my sales happen in person.
mm,
So what COVID has actually forced me to do is really step up my online game, right?
mm.
So become more engaged on social media,
Yes.
pivot, right? Because
Mhm.
now there's a need for masks.
Yes.
And a little earlier on, actually, someone said, "Oh, you should make masks." I kind of brushed it off. They were doing
Right.
it in China. They were wearing in China. This was
Mhm.
actually in December,
Mm.
and I kind of said, "Oh, that's like, I don't know." And then it was a fourth person that sent me a message and was like, "Hey, have you considered doing masks?" I said, "You know what? Let me see what I can do."
Right.
So I did a test. My husband wore it. He was like, "This is cool."
Mm.
So that's how things kind of shifted. So
Okay.
no longer was I doing it in person. No longer was I really focusing on clothes.
Yeah.
There was an immediate need, and I was determined to fill that need to some,
Nice.
and provide to as many people as I could. And so it was really kind of gangbusters. I was making thousands of masks
Mm.
and selling these masks, and getting them out. And I'm still making masks.
Sure.
But because so many people have them now and kind of getting more familiar, I'm now able to kind of focus back on what is like brings me
Right.
joy and
Yeah.
is part of like creating clothes. So that has caused me to shift the way I sell, shift the way I connect with people,
Yes.
and shift actually my product offering. But it's been good. It's been challenging.
Mhm.
It's been really challenging, but it, this is entrepreneurship. You can never really expect the unexpected, and this was
Right.
definitely unexpected.
I I bet.
Yeah,
And you did something that a lot of us need to learn to do. So we know, when people create companies or products, it was originally for this audience or this type of person or solve this type of problem. But when the
yeah,
market shifts, you need to be able to pivot. And
yes,
a lot of folks are attached to their initial feelings, and you kind of took the bull by the horns. Just like, you know what? I need to stay alive. There's a market out here. I need to serve
yeah,
that need. Yeah,
yep,
pumping out these masks, may take a lot out of me, but you know what? It's keeping me afloat and it's extending my brand. into different realms that was not possible just a couple of months
Absolutely.
ago. So no, that hats off to you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's what's up, man. When I grow up, I want to be like Iguehi.
Ah! I'm trying to be like you. Let me get on and start interviewing folks. Meet
Hey,
founders.
no problem. Sure thing. So now this question is for those who want to be in the apparel industry. So for those that are in the apparel and retail space, as
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, business owners, what are some trends that you're noticing that customers want and need during this time?
Well, we're spending a lot of time indoors. And so I think, we're used to creating things for that you wear outside at events and things
Right.
like that. I think, people still like to look good and people are continuing to buy. So just because people aren't going out doesn't mean people aren't buying.
Yeah.
But I do notice that the focus on what they're buying probably has shifted a little bit. And that has actually informed the direction of my line. So creating clothing that is comfortable.
Mm,
People are spending a lot of time indoors. So,
yeah.
they might not be wearing heels. So don't make a dress that you only feel cute when you're wearing heels. Create pieces that are comfortable, create things that are quality. So I know that fast fashion was big,
Mhm.
and there are a lot of fast fashion brands. For me, what I like to do is create pieces that'll stay in the test of time, that
Mhm.
will grow with you, that will
Yeah.
shrink with you. Our bodies fluctuate. So
Yeah.
people want things that make them feel comfortable, feel good. Um, and let's be honest, like we feel good when we get compliments, when people notice something
Yes.
that we're wearing. And so creating pieces that attracts attention,
Mm,
um, and is flattering to your body, the person that's wearing it. I think that's what people are looking for. So yeah, comfortable, long lasting, makes them look and feel good. Um, and yeah, I think I think that's what people really are interested in as it relates to fashion, especially given just kind of where we are right now with
yeah.
things being closed.
See, everyone, Iguehi gave you guys some gems that you can use to jumpstart and continue to expand your business and your offerings.
Yeah.
So take that and run with it and apply it as you see fit. Appreciate the tips,
Yeah.
Iguehi. So now, with everything going on in the protests, and now everyone is woke in reference to Black equality and racial equality with us and equity and all this stuff. What are your thoughts about the Buy Black movement that's going on, and has that helped your business at all?
So I think as a Black woman,
Mm-hmm.
as a Black business owner,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think it's important that people understand our contribution to the marketplace. And so I'm all for it. I love the promotion of Black businesses. My hope is that this is not a trend. This is not something that's hot right now and then forgotten next week. Because I know the way you know,
Mm-hmm.
Americans are very short-sighted.
Sure.
They,
Mm-hmm.
they like what's in and then they forget about it.
Yeah.
But Black people are not like a fad, and
No.
us creators are not a fad. What I'd like to believe is that the Buy Black movement is great because it is making a lot of people more aware of us as Black business owners, as makers, as creators. Um, but we're not good because we're a Black business. We're
Right.
good because we're good.
That's right.
Our products are quality because they're quality. They're not quality for a Black
That's
business.
right.
And so I hope that in this movement and this expansion and people realizing that there are these Black businesses that are making soaps and clothes and
Mm-hmm.
backpacks and different counting firms and architect. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're everywhere.
That's right.
Unfortunately, we haven't been given the same opportunities and the
Sure.
same exposures.
True.
So I do like that there is this focus right now. I just want people to realize that we've been tight.
Yes.
We've
Yes.
been tight. We've been creating amazing, amazing things. And so I hope that people continue to support and continue
Yeah.
to share with their networks
That's
because,
right.
we're in it for the long haul. This is not a
Mm-hmm.
fad.
Yep.
This is not a right now thing.
Yep.
So I do pray that it continues and the support continues.
No, I couldn't have said it better, man. we have a seat at the table and we are enough, man. And we need to continue to build upon that to expand because the world needs solutions to their problems and their
Yeah.
needs, and we can fulfill that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I know we got a couple more questions left. So I see you were selected to be a part of the Roots Picnic Marketplace. You know, that's a pretty big deal. You know, if you were at the actual Roots Picnic event, you would have been there vending amongst all of the top curators of the
Yeah.
country and our
Yeah.
culture. And, you know, the Roots is one of my favorite bands and rap groups. And I have all of their albums and stuff from back in the day when I was in college. And that was no easy feat to get on there. So tell us about your experience with being in the marketplace online and how did that work out for you?
So that was actually my first time doing a virtual marketplace. So admittedly, I didn't know what to expect, but I will say that the people behind it, the planners, the PayPal and the Roots staff were amazing. They were very communicative. They kind of told us how things would go and they did test runs and stuff like that. And it was great. I mean, to be on that platform, to be connected and affiliated with the Roots Picnic, with PayPal, was amazing. Like I couldn't have asked for anything more. So for me, it was a blessing for the opportunity.
Right.
I, more people are aware of Love Iguehi
That's
and the
right.
other 30 or so businesses that were also featured in the virtual marketplace. So it was good for me. I pray that it was good for everybody else that was featured. At the end of the day, just being acknowledged and recognized as a growing, thriving business, Black business, and being able to have people around the world kind of know about our different contributions to the marketplace was amazing. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity. Hope more come.
No, absolutely, and it definitely will find you. You keep putting out good product and putting it into the universe and serving the needs of people the way you are. You're going to get a whole lot more opportunity than you can imagine.
Yeah, thank you. I received that.
Cool. So tell us how folks can find you on social media. You know, give folks your Instagram handle, your Twitter handle if you're on Twitter, your website, and your Facebook business page.
Sure. So it's pretty straightforward. So my website is loveiguehi.com, and that's LOVEIGUEHI.com. And then Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all of it is Love Iguehi. It's just at Love IGUEHI, Love Iguehi.
That's what's up, man. And Iguehi, you are off the hot seat.
Yay.
Um, you know, this was a great interview. I'm glad you was able to christen our Bluurp co-founder story interview series. You know, this was a really great interview. This was actually my first time doing a vlog interview, and you really, you know, made this a joy. And you know, I'm looking forward to great things with you. And I've been meaning to share your website with my wife because I keep talking about you to my wife. So I'm going to actually
You
have to
gotta
show her the
share it.
website now.
Share it with her. Share my Instagram and Facebook.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please.
All right, so that concludes our interview. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next month with another entrepreneur that's working in accounting. And everyone continue to stay safe, sound, healthy, and peace out.